Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway, where you can shop online and get easy delivery or free pickup. Get the same prices, deals, and rewards as in-store. Shop the weekly ad, clip deals, and earn points at Safeway.com or in the Safeway app.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
Ever heard of a sesquicentennial? It's the twin anniversary, 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the 150th year since Colorado became a state. Official celebrations start this month and last for a year. The idea is to get out and explore our home, celebrate our history, and look forward to our future. I'm Haley May. Coming up, the big, beautiful threat to renewable energy.
Solar is, across Colorado, the cheapest and fastest to deploy source of electricity.
You'll get the latest on Congress's plans. Plus, traffic cameras that help police crack down on crime could have been used in other ways.
Law enforcement agencies have actually searched the network for information that appeared to be related to federal immigration cases.
Then, a beloved local music festival is suddenly in jeopardy.
We don't know exactly what the future of UMS is, but we do know that it will look different.
And what's that sound coming from the parking garage?
All day, all day.
It's Wednesday, July 2nd. Here's the news in Colorado today. The big, beautiful tax bill narrowly passed the Senate, and it's been a roller coaster for Colorado's wind and solar industries. Republican senators targeted clean energy projects for major cuts. They also tried to get in a last-minute tax that could have killed the industry, according to some clean energy groups. CPR's Ishan Thakur is here to sort out the latest. Ishan, what happened with the bill over the weekend?
It's kind of shocking. So senators put a section in the bill that would impose a new tax on wind and solar projects that source materials from some foreign entities, which basically meant China. That's a really big deal because projects in Colorado and all across the United States rely on China to produce key renewable energy supplies. We just don't have those supply chains or pipelines built right now.
But something changed.
Yeah, that's right. Some senators like Lisa Murkowski said they were not in favor of the tax. Passing anything this big would mean margins to put up wind farms or solar arrays are going to get really tight. We don't know exactly why the tax was taken out of the bill, but pushback from senators and probably industry opposition killed it.
Okay, so it sounds like that was a relief for the industry, but wind and solar still took a big hit. So what are they up against now?
Yeah, so the bill strips out these pretty important tax credits for solar and wind projects by 2027. If those projects start construction by the middle of next year, however, they'll still qualify. But that still means we are axing credits that companies are relying on in basically just a year. So I talked to Tom Hunt. He's the CEO of Pivot Energy. They're based in Denver, and they're building hundreds of community solar projects in Colorado.
Solar is, at this point, across most of the country, and certainly Colorado, the cheapest and fastest to deploy source of electricity. And so in a time when we're seeing growing demand from data centers and electric vehicles, it seems crazy to try to then make it more expensive and harder to build electricity generation.
Exactly how much of a price increase are we talking about here?
It's enough that it's going to be harder for some of these new projects to get off the ground. And it'll probably also introduce some uncertainty that might make an investor think twice about giving a project some cash. That's something I talked to Casey Becker about. She's the head of the Colorado Solar and Storage Association. She said that some of these incentives, they existed and were designed to bring renewable energy manufacturing to America.
With an incentive going away, there's not necessarily going to be a reason to build that supply chain in the United States.
This bill is a massive change from the Biden administration, which just 3 years ago passed this landmark climate law. It's called the Inflation Reduction Act, that was meant to encourage wind, solar, and other renewable energy development. This Senate bill, it's total whiplash from that policy. The Trump administration is basically wanting to put a larger focus on fossil fuels.
Is any of this back and forth going to stop Colorado from its plans to phase out fossil fuels and develop 100% renewables?
So the state's goals are still going to stand. They're legally mandated. wind and solar projects are still going to be built in Colorado, but one thing I heard from clean energy advocates is that electricity costs may spike if there's less projects being built and less electricity being added to the grid from wind, solar, and other types of renewables. Tom Hunt, who we heard from earlier, he said that with the incentives going away and the possible tax, he'd be reevaluating the cost of each of their projects that are in development. And, this interesting side note, nuclear and geothermal, those are two renewable sources that are getting a lot of interest in Colorado. They are not targeted for cuts in the same way in this Republican bill.
And a reminder, just for context, the bill goes to the House today. Trump hopes it'll pass very soon. CPR climate reporter Ishan Thakur, thank you.
You're welcome.
We've all seen traffic cameras on our commute to work and even when we travel to the mountains. But have you ever stopped to wonder about the data these cameras collect and who might have access to it? More than 80 Colorado cities and counties use flock safety cameras to photograph millions of car and truck license plates. The information usually helps in solving crimes like stolen vehicles. Now, the data can be used for other purposes. Arlo talked to Denverite's Kyle Harris, who's reporting this story.
Kyle, can you tell us which agencies have access to the flock safety data?
Speaking nationally, not just in Colorado, normally these cameras are used for criminal enforcement, but we've learned now that in some cases across the country, this information's been used in investigations with ICE and on immigration investigations in general. So many law enforcement agencies nationwide, more than 80 in Colorado, have access to these cameras.
Wow. So just so I know that I understand this, is the idea that the data collected in Colorado, including in Denver, goes to a national database of some kind?
Yes. So Flock is a national network. It's focused on local law enforcement. But in hundreds of instances that we've identified in public records from Illinois, law enforcement agencies have actually searched the network for information that appeared to be related to federal immigration cases. And each of those could have actually picked up license plates photographed here in Denver through early April.
What happened in April?
Well, there was a big conversation with City Council and the police department. The police department deactivated the national search function. This was under pressure from elected officials. And I want to be clear, up to this point, there is no specific evidence that we know of that Denver Police Department's license plate tracking data was used in immigration cases.
So they basically pulled the power cord on the whole thing.
Exactly. And shut down the network. So the license plates shot here in town cannot actually be read by, say someone in Houston. Houston cops trying to work with ICE. They want to find, a license plate that's come through Denver. They're not going to be able to see that through Flock.
So then what do city officials think about this whole thing?
A number of city council members say that, they're deeply concerned about the privacy questions. They're concerned about what the ACLU describes as the Orwellian nature of Flock. That said, the mayor's office, they really like Flock because it's good at combating crime. And so, the spokesperson for Mayor Mike Johnston told me the following: while we appreciate and in many instances agree with new concerns raised since the inauguration of President Trump, we have seen no evidence that data gathered by DPD is being used for anything other than addressing crimes committed in this city. So they're maintaining the belief that the data was not used for immigration cases. And like we said earlier, there is not evidence that it was.
I mean, I can see its use as someone whose car was almost stolen the first week I moved into Denver. But are there reports that other agencies in Colorado might be sharing license plate data with ICE?
Generally, no. But 9 News reported that the Loveland Police Department conducted multiple Flock searches using the term ICE on behalf of an agency called the ATF. That's the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. And it's also one of the agencies that has been aiding Trump's deportation plans. So the Loveland Police Department had given access to the Flock data to an ATF agent in connection with Tesla vandalism investigations. That ATF agent went on to use the database for ICE searches, 9 News reported. Now, Denverite did not find evidence that any other Colorado law enforcement agencies searched the Flock database with immigration or ICE as a reason, but certainly many other agencies around the nation did.
And to clarify, you've described what sounds like an open-ended situation in Denver, where the mayor wants to keep the flock cameras, even though the city council ended the contract effective in a few months. So what's the future of flock in Denver?
Well, right now we got more than 100 cameras installed throughout the city. The mayor, the city council members, DPD, they are all discussing how to use this technology for fighting crime, but also in a way that conforms with Denver and Colorado law. The issue is going to be considered by city council once again in a few weeks, and we expect some fireworks there.
Denverite's Kyle Harris. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Underground Music Showcase in Denver plans to celebrate its 25th anniversary this month. But we learned yesterday that it could also be the last hurrah for the weekend-long music festival.
We don't know exactly what the future of UMS is, but we do know that it will look different.
Jamie Duffy is executive director of Youth on Record, a music nonprofit that co-runs the Underground Music Showcase, which is often called UMS. Duffy says the festival's current model, 3 days of music shows in and around venues along South Broadway, is no longer sustainable.
Even if we were to sell out, music festivals are just in a new place. It's different than it was 25 years ago, right? We pay thriving artist wages. We have to monitor for climate change, emergency preparedness, safety protocols, fentanyl overdoses. And it's just not possible to keep doing that sustainably without a deeper look into funding, government support, philanthropic support. Something has to shift here. And that's not just for UMS, that's for every festival in America.
2 former Denver Post reporters founded the festival in 2000 as a scrappy community event. Tickets were just $5 compared to this year's $130 for a weekend pass, and only a handful of bands played. Over the years, UMS has showcased artists with national and international followings like the Lumineers, Nathaniel Rateliff, Wheelchair Sports Camp, and Devotchka.
You know what you gotta do. They all depend on you. And you already.
Devotchka drummer Sean King always looks forward to playing UMS. It's a chance to reconnect with old friends and celebrate the music scene of the city he calls home.
I'm going to see it with new eyes now that it's wrapping up. It's definitely sad.
He and others like Jamie Duffy are hoping this could push a bigger conversation.
This announcement really is, in some ways, a call to action to say what is next for Colorado music.
One idea, a local musician is organizing a summit for people from the industry, fans, funders, etc., to get people talking. As for UMS itself, if it does come back after this year, it likely won't be a weekend-long event. It might not even be a music festival at all. First, though, it'll celebrate its 25th annual event in its weekend-long glory at the end of this month in Denver. And a note of disclosure, Colorado Public Radio's Indie 102.3 is a media partner of the Underground Music Showcase.
2, 1. Keep going.
A different kind of music gathering is happening this week.
All day long.
You might hear these harmonious sounds flowing down the streets of downtown Denver. On Monday night, the Clock Tower building lit up like a striped Barbershop pole. It's all because Barbershop Harmony Society is putting on its 86th annual conference in Denver right now.
Song, smile the while you are singing. Oh, carry your call.
It's It's described by some as the World Series for barbershop quartets, a big international competition for the best a cappella teams. TJ Donahue is with the Rocky Mountain chapter, which is hosting the gathering.
On Thursday afternoon in downtown Denver, you have the chance to hear hundreds of barbershop singers from around the world filling the Galleria at the Denver Performing Arts Complex with old classic barbershop songs. It's free, and it's gonna, with the acoustics in that place, it's gonna be wild.
That's Thursday at 4 p.m. at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts Complex. Denverite's Kevin Beatty will be there. Thanks to him for reporting this story. You can see his pictures of the clock tower at denverite.com.
Oh, yeah. It's great to be a barbershopper!
Additional reporting for today's show came from CPR's Sam Brash and Denverite's Kyle Harris. Tell a friend about Colorado Today, and if you send us an email, we'll mail you a Colorado Today sticker. I'm Haley May. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway, where you can shop online and get easy delivery or free pickup. Get the same prices, deals, and rewards as in-store. Shop the weekly ad, clip deals, and earn points at Safeway.com or in the Safeway app.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.